Welcome to the Annual Planning and Site Visit webinar. My name is Kim Sanguesa, and I am the Manager of Early Learning Services at the Region of Waterloo. In this webinar, I will be providing you with an overview of the annual planning process, including the rationale behind why we are launching this process, what the process involves, the timelines around the planning cycle, as well as walking you through the planning template and other tools that have been created to facilitate this process. I will conclude by providing an overview of the site visit. In keeping with the total quality management approach that was detailed in the background and overview webinar, the annual planning and site visit was designed as a way to actively engage and support early years system partners in a process of continuous quality improvement. For the annual planning portion, programs will choose 3 goals that align with our vision for quality in Waterloo Region and complete the annual planning template for each. A 4th goal specific to the system-wide parent survey will also be completed, but only once the system-wide parent survey launches. When determining goals for the cycle period, some possible sources could be your organizational strategic plan, the Ministry of Education, how does learning happen, feedback from your own parent or staff survey, the Region of Waterloo Children's Services Early Learning and Childcare Service Plan, or perhaps the College of Early Childhood Educators. While this is certainly not an exhaustive list, it may provide a starting place. As mentioned earlier, the goals for your program should align with our vision for quality in Waterloo Region. For your reference, our vision was printed as a pocket guide, and a copy was inserted inside the front cover of each Early Years Engaged portfolio. Copies of our vision have been made available to all programs for distribution to each staff. If you would like to obtain a copy, please contact Quality Initiatives at the Region. The annual cycle for planning will follow a September to August timeline. However, as an introduction to this new process, the first planning cycle will begin in March of 2017 and end in June 2018. This will provide programs with an extended period of time to become comfortable with the process and to gain familiarity with the planning tools. We have purposely built in a pause from June 2018 to September 2018 for Children's Services to review the year and reflect on our own learnings from the process and the feedback we are hoping programs will provide about their experience, so we can make any adjustments or refinements to the process and tools ahead of the second cycle, which will begin in September 2018. As per the total quality management approach, a key element in the success of engaging in an annual planning cycle is for organizations to include all professionals and board of directors, where applicable, in the planning process. In our Vision for Quality in Waterloo Region glossary of terms, we have defined professionals as all employees of early years system partners. We envision that all members of organizations, including board members, will play a role in determining the goals, developing the work plan and timelines, and taking the lead on various activities identified within the work plan. For multi-site operators, we recognize the importance of consistency across the organization. In these cases, organizations can determine focus areas or goals that will be shared by all sites. But we would like to see each site be able to develop individual work plans that meet the needs of their families, children, and staff. There is a planning tool for multi-site operators to use for developing their organizational goals, and will also assist in developing a support plan for programs across the agency in achieving the goals. For youth development programs, if they are co-located with a child care, or if a child care center operates a single-site youth development program at a separate location, no separate planning is required, as we would anticipate it would be covered under the child care program planning. For organizations with many standalone youth development programs, each youth development program would need to complete a planning template. However, they would only need to develop 1 to 2 goals. Goals can be predetermined using the planning tool for multi-site operators or completely specific to each site. Due to the smaller number of staff involved in youth development programs compared to other types of programs, Planning may occur as a large group of youth development programs as opposed to individually site by site. Here is the annual planning template. We have provided a complete example within the portfolio to assist programs with walking through the process. Before getting into the table portion of the template, note that there are fillable spaces at the top and to the right for your program name and the cycle period respectively. The first cycle period is March 2017 to June 2018. For subsequent years, the cycle period will be September to August. So for year 2, you would write September 2018 to August 2019. Each year, programs will begin to determine their goals, develop their work plan and timelines, and begin implementing the plan as early in the cycle period as possible. It is expected that the goals will be determined and the work plan developed prior to the annual site visit, so they are ready for discussion. The template itself is laid out in a fairly straightforward manner. The first column in the table is where you would write your goal. When determining goals, we would encourage you to keep the acronym SMART in mind. For early years engaged, we have defined SMART as specific, measurable, action-oriented, relevant, and time-bound. Keeping these elements in focus will help you to write strong goals that not only align with our vision for quality, but that are supported by a detailed action plan, including specific timelines for achieving each activity, so that your overall goal can be reached within the time frame you have set out. After you have determined your goal, the next step is to identify how your goal aligns with our vision for quality in Waterloo Region, and then provide some rationale for choosing the goal. Next, you are moving to create your work plan. This will detail all the activities that you have determined are necessary to reach your goal, who will be taking the lead on each of those activities, and then assigning a time frame for completing the individual activities. Lastly, you will indicate any supports that may be required to achieve your goal. You will be repeating this process for each of the 3 goals, plus the extra goal that is linked to the system-wide parent survey once it launches. As part of the annual planning process, there is a mid-cycle check-in where you will summarize your progress to date, note any changes to the goals or timeframes, and indicate any solutions to any barriers that you encountered. Lastly, there is an end-of-cycle review where organizations will discuss and record their progress and accomplishments and the impacts of those accomplishments on the organization, the community, professionals, families, and children. Programs will also comment on any barriers that were encountered through the process. Programs could be asked to provide a copy of their completed annual planning template to Children's Services. It is anticipated that the end-of-cycle review will happen in conjunction with the initial planning or goal setting for the upcoming year. However, for the first planning cycle, the end-of-cycle review will occur in late May or early June of 2018. To assist programs with developing and implementing their detailed work plan in the planning template and evaluating the outcomes, the tool, Planning for Quality, has been provided. It is a simple assess, plan, do, review process that will assist you in thinking about what you will need to put in place to achieve the goal, how you will implement the work plan, and how you will review the data and research collected through the implementation process to determine whether you achieved what you hoped to. Please note that this assess, plan, do, review process may also be used to assist programs or individuals through many scenarios, not just for annual planning, and we would encourage you to use it when and wherever it may be helpful. Let's go through each of the 4 processes. Process 1. Responding is primarily a reactive stage where you would assess issues or complaints, new or changing requirements from a legislative body, or new initiatives that you are taking on, either for the first time or as a result of the previous continuous quality improvement cycle. At this stage, you are reviewing the information that has come to light and making decisions about how to proceed or what actions are required to move forward. Process 2, establishing coherence, It is the planning stage where you would be revising and/or developing new policies, procedures, strategies, or activities to help you move forward with your implementation or action. Coherence is achieved by getting the new protocols or guidelines in place and by developing the work plan. Process 3, service provision and operational practice, is the do phase, where you would carry out and monitor your work plan to assess the steps are being followed or activities are being completed to achieve your goal. And lastly, process 4, reflection and evidence-informed planning. It is here, as a program, you would review the data and research collected from implementing your plan and evaluate whether your goals have been met. If you have met your goals, you would then move to setting new goals. If you haven't achieved all that you set out to, you would then determine what different courses of action may be required to reach your goal and add those to your new work plan. I hope this process is making sense and you can see many opportunities for using this assess, plan, do, review process in your everyday work. I am now going to shift from annual planning to talk about the site visits. Children's Services plans to visit each head office site on an annual basis. During the first year of implementation for Early Years Engage, the site visits will occur from April to November of 2017 or beyond if required. For subsequent years, visits will occur from September to June. Visits will be booked in advance and, where possible, not around the same time as your ministry licensing visit. It is anticipated this once-a-year visit will be approximately 3 hours in length and divided into 3 parts. Part 1 of the site visit applies to licensed childcare programs and in 2018, Ontario Early Years Child and Family Centres. When visiting the programs, observations will be made using an appreciative inquiry lens. Time will be spent in the program observing and, where possible, taking the opportunity to talk with educators, consultants, and therapists. We would love to hear from staff what they are most proud of in their program and what challenges they may be facing. Part 2 of the visit will be a meeting with the program supervisor and manager, owner, or director. Children's Services will begin by sharing some of their observations from their walkthrough. Then the program attendees will have an opportunity to highlight their accomplishments, identify their challenges, and their supports that may be helpful for them in dealing with the challenges. We will also be checking in or reviewing any early years initiatives, as well as any thoughts programs have for upcoming projects where they may be applying for special purpose expense funding. Part 3 of the visit will focus on the progress of the annual planning template and a discussion regarding the goals and accompanying work plan. Although we would love to visit every site every year, it is not possible for us to do so at present. So, for multi-site organizations, only a percentage of sites will be visited each year, and only Part 1 and a portion of Part 2 will be completed on site. The remainder of Part 2 and Part 3 will occur as part of an annual group meeting by head office, which will include the supervisors from all the sites and the director or owner. For head offices with 5 or less sites, 1 site will be visited per year. For head offices with more than 5 sites, 25% of programs will be visited each year. So, for example, if a head office has 7 programs, 2 will be visited annually. Children's Services will determine which programs receive a site visit in the given year, with the goal of seeing all programs within a multi-site agency over a 2 to 4 year period. For multi-site agencies operating before and after school programs, which are not co-located on a site with a child care center, up to 25% of them will be visited each year. For home-based child care agencies and special needs resourcing agencies, Children's Services will not be doing the appreciative inquiry portion of the visit. Rather, Children's Services will be arranging group meetings by head office, which will include the supervisors from all of the sites and the director-owner, and where appropriate, program staff, to review Parts 2 and 3 of the site visit. I'm really excited about the potential of the annual planning and site visit process, and Children's Services is really looking forward to building and strengthening relationships within our community partners as we visit programs to see the wonderful things that are happening and to further support you in the work that you do. This concludes the annual planning and site visit webinar. If you have questions or would like any additional information, please do not hesitate to contact myself or Debbie Jones or Leah Clark in Quality Initiatives. Our contact information is provided at the end of the presentation. This webinar is a part of a series. Other webinars available are the Early Years Engage, Background and Overview, and Staff Training and Development Policy, including Continuous Professional Learning Guidelines for Professionals. If you have any questions about Early Years Engage, Continuous Quality Improvement in Waterloo Region, please feel free to contact myself or any of the Quality Initiatives team. Thank you for taking the time to watch this webinar.